Crime, underworld, mafia war. This is Joe Zerilli, a man whose life story reads like a thrilling crime novel. Born in the charming town of Terrasini, Sicily on December 10, 1897, Zerilli's journey to notoriety began when he immigrated to the United States at just 17 years of age in 1914. Settling in Detroit alongside a wave of Italian immigrants, many of them fellow Sicilians, he unknowingly set off on a path that would make him a key player in the city's organized crime scene. Early life in Detroit. In 1914, a young and ambitious Joe Zerilli arrived in Detroit as an immigrant seeking the American dream. This was an era marked by a remarkable influx of Italian immigrants, especially from the picturesque landscapes of Sicily, all drawn to the promises of a better life in the bustling heart of the United States. Among them, Zerilli found his place and initially his livelihood at the Detroit Gas Company. Little did anyone anticipate that this young laborer would later become a prominent figure in the city's underworld and the Purple Gang. The Purple Gang. Born out of the crucible of Detroit, this gang was a product of its time. As Prohibition swept across the nation, the Purple Gang emerged, seizing the opportunity to capitalize on the ban of alcohol sales. Originally a group of street thugs, they swiftly evolved into a formidable criminal organization that specialized in smuggling illicit liquor. Led by the Bernstein brothers, Abe, Bugs, Bill, Raymond, and Isidore, along with Harry and Louis Flesher, the Purple Gang was predominantly composed of American-born Jews whose parents had immigrated from Eastern Europe. Among their ranks was none other than Joe Zerilli, who played a significant role in the gang's illicit activities. The Purple Gang's audacious exploits during Prohibition would go down in infamy, and Joe Zerilli's involvement in this criminal enterprise marked just the beginning of his storied criminal career. Expansion into organized crime. As Prohibition time raged on, Joe Zerilli's involvement in organized crime deepened, marked by a significant collaboration with mobster Gaspar Milazzo. Together, they embarked on a path that went beyond bootlegging. The Purple Gang, initially known for its prowess in smuggling liquor, rapidly diversified its criminal portfolio. Under the leadership of Zerilli and others, the gang ventured into loan sharking, extortion, narcotics trade, labor racketeering, and bookmaking. This expansion of their criminal activities allowed them to maintain a vice-like grip on Detroit's underworld throughout the 1930s. The Purple Gang's stranglehold on various illicit enterprises not only brought them immense wealth, but also made them a force to be reckoned with in the city's criminal landscape, leaving a lasting imprint on the history of organized crime in Detroit. Now, before we continue with the video, please take a second to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press that bell icon as well. Thank you. Rise to power. As the gang expanded its criminal empire and ventured into various illicit enterprises, internal conflicts became inevitable. In 1936, amidst the turbulence, Joe Zerilli emerged as a central figure, assuming operational control of Detroit's criminal operations. This marked a turning point in the gang's history, as Zerilli's strategic acumen and leadership skills played a pivotal role in consolidating their influence. It was during this time that the Detroit Partnership, a formidable alliance of Italian-American criminal organizations, began to take shape. While William Tocco held the title of the official boss in the early years, Zerilli's behind-the-scenes influence was undeniable. The Commission and national influence. In the intricate web of organized crime, Joe Zerilli's ascent to power was not confined to Detroit alone. In 1931, the legendary mobster Lucky Luciano formed what would become known as the Commission, an exclusive council of top American mafia bosses aimed at maintaining order and settling disputes among the crime families. Over the years, the Commission's influence grew, and by 1956, Joe Zerilli, as the boss of the Detroit crime family, was granted a coveted seat at this illustrious table. His inclusion was a testament to his prominence in the national underworld, a recognition of his role in the Detroit Partnership's operations. However, this elevated status came with its fair share of challenges. Could they have had something to do with his early retirement? Later life and secession. In the later part of his life, Joe Zerilli took a surprising turn, retiring from racketeering in 1970 after more than 4 decades in the criminal underworld. His decision marked a significant transition for the Detroit Partnership, as his son Anthony Zerilli, commonly known as Tony, assumed control of the family's operations. However, it was Tony's earlier venture that truly left an imprint on Detroit's criminal landscape. In 1950, while still in his early 20s, Tony Zerilli had become a majority owner of the Hazel Park Raceway, a suburban Detroit racetrack. At a time when gambling in Michigan was limited to racetracks, the Hazel Park Raceway became a lucrative source of revenue for the Detroit Partnership, generating millions of dollars. Return to power and death. In an unexpected twist, Joe Zerilli made a return to the helm of the Detroit Partnership in 1975. This resurgence in leadership was precipitated by his son, Anthony Zerilli's imprisonment for conspiring to conceal interest in a Las Vegas syndicate casino. As Tony faced legal troubles, Joe Zerilli emerged from retirement to once again lead the criminal organization. However, this second stint at the helm was relatively short-lived. On October 30th, 1977, Joe Zerilli died of natural causes, marking the end of a span in Detroit's underworld. He was laid to rest at the hallowed grounds of Mount Olivet Cemetery in Detroit, a final resting place befitting a man whose life had been entwined with the city's history, both in legitimate and illicit endeavors. His death signified the passing of a formidable figure in the annals of American organized crime, leaving behind a complex legacy that continued to captivate the imagination of crime enthusiasts and historians alike. Unusual testimony. Following Joe Zerilli's demise, his nephew, Jack Tocco, stepped into the role of leading the Detroit Partnership. Under Jack's leadership, the organization navigated a changing criminal landscape, adapting to evolving law enforcement tactics and societal shifts. However, the shadow of Joe Zerilli's legacy loomed large over the syndicate's operations. In a surprising turn of events in 2000, Joe Zerilli's grandson, Nove Tocco, broke the code of silence by agreeing to testify against his own cousin, Jack Tocco, who was still the boss of the Detroit crime syndicate. This marked an unprecedented moment in the Detroit underworld, as Nove became the first member of the crime family to turn state's evidence since its founding in 1921. Joe Zerilli's life and career represent a captivating chapter in Detroit's criminal history. Born in Sicily, he journeyed to the United States as a young immigrant, ultimately rising to prominence in the city's underworld during the Prohibition era. Zerilli's story is a testament to the complex interplay of immigration, prohibition, and the evolution of organized crime in America. Yet, even with his passing, the enduring intrigue surrounding his enigmatic persona and the secrets of the Detroit Partnership continue to tantalize, leaving us to wonder, what lies beneath the surface of this captivating tale of power, betrayal, and the enduring legacy of the Detroit underworld? If you liked this video, then make sure to drop a like and don't forget to comment down below which criminal activities you'd like us to cover next. And as always, thank you very much for choosing to spend your time with us today. We'll see you in our next video.